Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Lobby Podcast. I, Joey, am here with Paul and Jordan. Today, I wanted to bring up something actually. We watched a show, Naruto, pretty popular show. At the end of the show, there's this concept that really targets morality and everything, and it's called the Infinite Tsukiyomi. For anybody who doesn't know what that is, basically what it is everybody's locked in this dream where everything goes right for them, right? Jordan knows what it is. He's watched it. Paul, never seen Naruto, never even really heard about it. But there's this dream basically where you hear and see you're living it. You're living in a literal very vivid dream. You're seeing everything.
You don't know you're in the dream at all.
Don't even know you're in the dream. You do. You're aware of you got put into this dream.
But once you're in it,
you're living life. You're living.
But in the back of your head, you always know the fact that you're in a dream.
As soon as you're in the dream,
once you wake up, you think oh, that was a crazy dream I had last night. It's one of those things. So my question is, to put this in a very dumb, simplified thing, if you knew you were being controlled, right? Somebody's playing Sims 4, would you like to know that you're being controlled and would you even think about it?
And you're living the perfect life in this dream.
Right, there's still problems, trials, but you typically are the one that solves them. You're living a good life. You're living your ideal life.
Your ideal life, and you're solving all the problems. You're a hero.
No, it's
right.
It's
you're literally a hero.
For example, I still have to go to college and stuff. For example, I'm gonna be successful. I still have to do my homework and all that.
Yeah, so
it's almost guaranteed I'm gonna be successful.
It's your perfect world.
Basically, ideal life, everything goes right. But the problem is, this completely eliminates free will, hypothetically speaking.
As far as you know, it doesn't.
That's
the thing that gets me the most.
So would you want to find out that technically you don't have free will?
Now, for example, just because for example, the character's name was Madara, he's the one who invented the whole Infinite Tsukiyomi thing.
Glassbox owner.
At the end of the day, what he thought he was doing was a good thing. No one's gonna know they're in this quote unquote dream. They think it's real life. They're enjoying their lives. Is that really such a bad thing to begin with?
I think so.
Yes.
Because I would agree with you. I think that I would definitely want to know. But at the end of the day, right now, for all we know, it could be the same thing.
The whole living in a simulation.
For all we know, it really can. Obviously, this, you can believe whatever you want. It really can be. We can be being controlled at the moment. We have no idea. We're living our lives.
If you really want to get into it, which I don't think we should, because this is not by any means a religion podcast. Is that not what religion is? God up there, he knows what's going to happen.
But see, there's a difference where you have free choice. That's why there is the heaven.
Right, but at the end of the day, he knows what's going to happen. So how much free will do you really have?
That's what I'm saying.
Don't really want to get into that, but
But in that case, you're independent of making your own decisions. So it would basically be, instead of rather you already being in the dream, you have the choice to make a right or wrong decision here and there.
Okay, so get this then. So say somebody gave you the option. You pay $100, right? Just $100. They put you in a coma for the rest of your life, and you live happy in that coma.
You're paying the person to put you into a coma.
Just any, you don't even have to pay. They're just putting you in a coma just so you can be happy for the rest of your life. You're going to dream and live the ideal life, but you're going to technically be asleep and wrapped up.
You wouldn't know.
You would know, but would you be okay with even if you did know? Would you just?
Because for example, on the Naruto thing, they knew that they were being put inside of it at the moment, but as soon as they were in it, they were in it. They had no idea they were in it. They were living their lives as if everything was the same, and as if them getting put into it was the dream. Mm-hmm. It was as if they
they knew something happened and they had to figure something out, but once they really got into it, because as soon as they woke up in their dream, as soon as they were in their dream, they were already they didn't even have time to think about how they.
Okay, so let's take it a step deeper, and let's say that you're in the dream, you don't know anything for the first X amount of time that you're in this dream. It's the perfect life. It's everything you ever wanted. You're successful. You're happy. Whatever. Whole 9 yards. But there comes a point where all of this success leads up to a point, and then you find out you're in a dream. Would you continue on with this happy, perfect life, or would you choose to leave that dream at that exact moment?
I don't think, given the chance to know more, I don't think I would ever turn it down. Even if knowing more would ruin everything, I don't think that me personally, I could know that this is all fake and keep going with it.
Right. So if you
Yeah.
found low key though, like if you found out tomorrow that this was all a dream and you could wake up, you have no idea what you're waking
I'd
up
wake
into.
up automatically.
You'd wake up,
It's
giving up
unfortunate.
everything you have now.
Because once you find out that information that it's not exactly real, then what's waiting for you outside? It could be better, it could be worse. But
Bro,
I'd be
like
willing
what
to
if
take
you're
that
like a
chance.
2-year-old child?
Well,
I
a
would
2-year-old
wanna
child
live-
isn't like that's not part of this
I wanna
conversation. They're
live,
not going to
I'm
have
just
that
saying,
choice.
like- But is that you feel like you're doing that right now, don't
I
you?
feel like it, but like once it's the thing. Like once, for example, we're talking. Our topic was going to be almost in quotes, is ignorance bliss. Like, I think the second you know what's actually going on and it becomes real, like I can't. What's a better way to say that?
You just wouldn't be able to live with it after that point.
Yeah,
And what if?
yeah,
And then you'd
100%.
always think of, what if that was my only chance? Because once you find out, even in the dream, then you'll know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or like whatever. But what if you never have a chance to see what the outside world is like?
Anything good that happens to you, you're just like, oh well, like it's
Yeah.
just a dream anyway. Anything bad that happens to you,
fake.
like wow, why did that person who's controlling my dream just have to make that happen
If I know I'm
or
in
whatever?
a dream and I wake up the next day, wake up, I'm still in the dream, and I got a free $1,000 from like I don't know a prize that they give away. That's crazy. Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
I
Like
just
if I ever won the lottery, I'd be like, well, that's because
That's what
I'm in
saying.
a dream.
I feel like once you know it's a dream, it takes all the fun out of living that life.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I 100% agree with that. But I think given the opportunity to like be put in a dream where everything goes right and I'm happy, like I would at least consider it. Like the infinite Tsukuyomi, like would I choose to be put into it? Like the concept of it is bad, but like, bro, I'm kind of sick of this school thing. Like I'm done. I don't want to stress about this stuff anymore. Like I'm good. I'll go into a dream and continue my life from like the ideal perspective. Like why not?
And that's kind of why
I got nothing going for me here anyway.
It's kind of what I was saying. Like, did the villain in Naruto have a good idea?
I would argue, like, not gonna get into this further. Yeah, he did. Because think about it. All he wanted was peace. Did he not get world peace?
But why did he want peace in that way? So he could control everybody?
No, he
Not
wanted
even.
peace because he's going through so much in his life.
He couldn't control anything. He's been through so much. He wanted a way to like.
He wanted world peace.
Okay, so let's say you're in that dream, okay, and there's one person that, okay, it's like your happy life, you're in the dream. What happens to your outside self? Does like your whole body get transported into
just
this little
sleeping.
dream, or you're just like laying down somewhere in a bed and you just
Do you want the
there forever?
Naruto version or the hypothetical?
Just the dumbed down version. We don't need the Naruto version because I don't understand it.
What happened there? Basically, all it was they like just got wrapped up and their bodies were sealed. It was all in their heads. But obviously, to them, in their heads, they thought it was their body. They thought everything was real.
So they were just asleep.
So they were put into a coma and put into this dream,
were just
never
chilling.
to wake up
Yep.
again unless they chose to, or
Nope,
somehow
they didn't even
escape.
get that
or
choice.
somehow
They were just asleep.
escape, whatever.
They can't. That's
They,
the thing. Though.
they
You
can't.
can't escape. You
Like
can't
there
choose
is
to.
no waking up from that dream.
And
Okay.
that's why a part of it doesn't sound terrible because there's no way to know. Like if you don't know, like I said,
Like they knew they were going into it though. So like, but once you're in the dream, you don't know it's a dream. So like, would you choose to be put in a dream that when you wake up in the dream, you have no idea that you're in a dream?
No. But the question that I'm thinking about is so let's say this
would.
person puts every single individual in the world into this dream.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why does he do that? For world peace, so everyone can live happy. But in actuality, everyone's real self is just laying in a bed, slowly wasting away. What happens when you die in the real world? Does your dream continue on? Do you continue
think
on,
your
or do you
dream ends.
just die in the dream?
Yep, you're
Die in
done.
the dream.
They like for example in like the non-Naruto version, they gave the bodies as much nutrients as whatever they needed to survive. Like
Yeah.
as normal people, they would age normally, and then whenever they died, they just died. Like so in the dream, they would die. Like they would like whatever. And that's obviously and what you're saying is like that's what like the heroes in Naruto were talking about. Like even though like it's all perfect and it sounds great, like it's not actually you living that. Like you don't have like it's not real.
I think the thing is we all agree. The problem with this is like we all agree, but at the end of the day, there's always an argument to be had that world peace can be achieved through just putting everybody in a dream. And I would argue like that's not the worst concept in the
I
world.
think the worst part about it
Is you
it's,
lose the free will.
it's
I
hard to
think
come
that's what
up
that
with like downsides about it.
Yeah, I do. That's what I agree.
There's
I
something-
like name a
there's something
downside.
That sounds so wrong about it. Yet I have a hard time coming up with downsides. That's what
So-
kills me about it.
Even if at the heart of all of this, he is basically putting all these people in like their happy place, he's providing for them, whatever. They're in their perfect self just inside of a dream. That in itself is like a form of control. Now, would you feel
100%.
okay yourself controlling other people like that? Like, if you had the monetary means, would you buy the love of your life? Or would you buy friendship? Would you use...
Here's
That's
why
what
I
I
would.
mean.
Here's why I would. I'm not saying like the idea of it is wrong, right? The idea of it. But if you buy like a friend, say if I was paying one of you guys to be my friend, that's horrible. You know me, like. But would I pay somebody to be my friend? I don't think I would ever do this. But like, would I pay somebody to like be my friend, and then I don't know, maybe we become friends, and then I don't have to pay them anymore.
But in this part, they're just really good at acting like they are your friend, but at the heart of it, they just want the money. Except your ignorance is your bliss, and you're just sending them checks.
Bro, you're literally just describing like a Hallmark movie.
It's similar to like how, like, for example, say you had a son, Joey. He was the biggest loser in the world. Like, he had no friends that want to talk to him. So you, the strange, loving father, decided to buy him a friend. So you paid for someone all the time, like for the longest time, to be his friend, just to be his friend or whatever. Like, he was always there for him all the time, always hung out with him. You had to pay him. Your son has no idea. Your son's like, wow, I actually have a friend. Like, he means a lot to me, whatever, yada. Like, I guess because it has to end at some point.
Yeah, what
Like,
happens when the money dries out?
Like-
when there's just not money for this friend.
But if it never ended, so hypothetically, say it never ended, he was always getting paid. Like, do you feel bad for your son? If your son never finds out, ever, he dies one day in his old age without ever knowing that kid was getting paid, do you feel bad for your son?
Ignorance is bliss. I'll always believe that.
So you would not feel bad for your son?
Nope, not even a little bit.
Now, what if your son actually turned into like a really sociable, something like really outgoing
Because of that
person?
friend.
Not because of the friend, just along the way, he just like grew up and he realized these things, and his friend had nothing to do with it. But you kept paying this friend because you wanted to keep up like that little lie. Like that
Oh,
little-
that's actually a good point. Like the lie, you would have to probably keep it up anyway.
Yeah,
You know, But, like
even if your son didn't need that friendship anymore in any sense, like if they just stopped being friends, you'd be like whatever. But you didn't want to risk the relationship with your
I
son.
mean, if I was hiring an a-hole, like who's gonna come out here and
But they're
tell
not
my
the
son,
a-hole.
hey man, your dad's not paying me anymore. I'm not really your friend. Like, if he was, hopefully I would hire like a decent human being to be his friend, and then like once he decides to be social and have a life, they would shake hands and be like, all right, well, you don't need to be his friend anymore, but hey, feel free, like do whatever you want. And then you just never mention it again, never talk about it. Ideally, that's how it happens, but like one argument, he's like, hey, I'm being paid to be your friend. You're a total loser. That's that's the only problem with that. But if my son had no friends, would I pay somebody to be his friend? 100%.
I would never.
Would you actually?
Wow.
100%. If the option was there for me to do, like, I'm not gonna go around to each kid and be like, hey, like I'll pay you $50 to be my kid's friend. But if some kid came up or like, or, I don't know, if I ever just
the
saw an
right
opportunity,
situation
if the
fell
right,
in
if the
your
right
lap.
situation fell into my lap, and like I'm telling you, like 3 years, my kid's gone to school, 0 friends. Would I pay somebody? Because like that, what do? Do you like force him to
He's gotta, like,
friend somebody?
He's gotta figure it out, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry.
at that point. Like,
4 years, he still hasn't figured it out. 5, 6, freshman in high school, hasn't figured it out. Sophomore in high school, hasn't figured it out.
when the
He's
kid
got college.
graduates, yeah. Then like it just
What?
goes on.
He's got
But
college.
because
You
how
serious?
Because how many people does that happen to where they don't have a single friend for their entire childhood, and then they get to college and just one day it clicks and they're like, all right, whatever. Like maybe they'll find a friend. Maybe they just don't care. Maybe they just focus on themselves, or maybe they find a girl. You know what I mean? It's all hypothetical.
If your kid was like, you just knew, like obviously this is impossible. You knew your kid was never gonna find out. Like you just knew, like he would never ever find out, and like he would have a friend.
I wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't want that either because it's not like your kid wouldn't know, but you're also taking away from like their life experience. You know what I mean?
Now, I do agree, like, I disagree with you on that, just because, like, for example, our hypothetical situation implies that my son would never ever find out and he wouldn't know, so it really wouldn't take anything away from him. As far as he knows, this is genuinely one of his friends who likes hanging out with him.
Ignorance is bliss.
Now, and, like, I guess, like, if you really want to get technical, you could say, how about those, like, really hard times in someone's life and you, like, need a friend or you need someone to rely on? he wouldn't have that person because there's only so many things you can pay someone to do. But then, like, I guess, like, if you want to, like, for the hypothetical situation, say that he's a full-fledged friend who does everything for your son as long as you pay him. You know what I mean? Like, then I don't know. I just still think, like, I don't think... It's one of those things, for example, like we just talked about, how I would not want to be put into, like, that dream world, but, like, the terrible part is I can't find a bad thing about it. There's just something in the back of my head that's, like, that's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing with that.
I mean, I 100% agree, but I think,
sounds like it would work in theory, like, really well, and it's a great way to go, but something in the back of my head is just saying it's not a good idea, and it wouldn't, like...
I think the pluses outweigh the minuses in that scenario, because, like, think about it. My good friend Tommy, we were good friends all throughout high school, best duo. Like, if I found out that from 7th grade when we met to, like, 9th grade, he was getting paid by my parents, and then, like, if I found that out tomorrow, I'd be like, oh, well. Like, we were still friends.
What if you found
afterward.
out the last day of your freshman year of high school?
If I found out
Tommy.
immediately as soon as the peak of our friendship was senior year, so that's why I'm like, okay, he wasn't getting paid senior year, like, when we were still friends. But, like, if the last day he was my friend, so say, like, we weren't friends, like, freshman year we stopped being friends, we stopped talking, right? And then I found out now that he was being paid back then, that I would probably be mad at my parents. But if anything, like, now I'd be like, oh, well, Mom, like, you got me a good friend.
I disagree the complete opposite. I'd say that if I found out we stopped talking and a few years later then I found out, I would be like, oh, whatever, like, it doesn't matter. I'm not, like, I don't talk to
What?
them. But, like, bro, for example, one of my friends now, one of my very, very close friends from back home, like, I found out one day that they're being paid to be my friend.
That they were being paid, not that they are, but they were.
So they're not
But
getting
they-
paid.
They're not
Still
getting
haven't-
paid
but they have
anymore,
yet
and
to tell you
they have yet to tell you about it, and you're still friends. Like, nothing, like, you ended up being good friends anyway because of it.
I just think, like...
So, like, if Madison or Noah or any of your close friends from back home were being paid,
So I think... Sorry, so give
Back in the day.
Give me a hypothetical time stamp. Like, when...
I'm talking, like,
When did they stop getting paid? When did I find out? Okay.
I'm talking before college. Like, when we got to college freshman year,
They stopped being paid.
or the summer before freshman year, they stopped getting paid.
So, like...
But since then, you've been close, right? You've been
just-
close since then, and then you found out tomorrow. What would you even do?
I think that, like, I couldn't...
You couldn't be friends with them after everything you went through after they were getting paid?
But, alright, but think about all the things you guys went through before they got... Like, while they were getting paid.
Bro, but I think that, ignorance is bliss. Like, I would never want to find out. Like, that's something for me I would never want to find out.
I agree. At that point, I wouldn't want to find out. But, like, if I did, it could not be the same. Like, I could just ignore it.
I 100% think it could be the same, because I think that's one thing we would laugh off. Like, they would probably make fun of me. I think Tommy would make fun of me and be like, you're an idiot. Like, I was literally being paid. Ha ha ha, that's funny. Like, that used to happen. But, like...
I think I'd be more, like, ticked off at my parents than anything else.
I would probably be mad at my parents.
They thought that I was down so bad that I needed help.
Question for you.
Cheating at life, basically.
Say you were down bad. Say you had no friends.
Question for you.
And they paid for your friend for life.
Would you ever
Struggle
let
leads
someone
to
else's
success.
parents pay for you to be some of their kid's friend?
No, I would never accept money for that.
Sorry.
No dollar amount.
Hold on a minute. You're telling me some, like, kid you would never in a million years be friends with, their parents like, hey, like, I'll pay you like $10 a week if you just hang out with my kid and be friends with him.
I would not do it for money. Like, if I'm going to do it, I would have to do it because, like,
Their parents asked
maybe,
nicely, and I was like,
yeah,
okay, I'll
maybe
pay you
like
first.
I even like felt bad for that kid, which is like kind of a bad thing to say, or out of me, like, I'd hope that I have some goodness in my heart to do it for like free. You know what I mean? Because maybe the kid's really cool.
I could never.
Maybe he's just a
I
really
could never
dope
take
guy.
money for that ever.
Week 2, you're like, I can't hang out with this kid. Can't.
Then
Bro,
you don't hang out with them,
I
or
couldn't-
you just do your best to be nice with them for as long as you know them.
I couldn't take money for that. I just couldn't do that.
Shoot, y'all don't like money enough.
No, it's just that, like, I feel like my
Y'all
morals,
do not like
my
money
morals
enough.
in that situation wouldn't be able to like keep up like that type of elaborate lie.
I don't think it was a lie. I would think, like, man, this kid's got some cool parents. Like, let's be friends.
No, that kid has like, I don't know, some weird parents. First of all, you know what I mean? Like,
I
it's
think
just-
it all
goofy.
stems down to this. How much is money worth to you? And is ignorance really bliss? Because this kid's never going to find out, because I'm not going to tell him.
All I'm gonna say is that I don't think there is any amount of money possible to make me like jeopardize my morals.
I mean, I would. Well, you and I have very different definitions of morals, but I 100%, like, I would do things you wouldn't do for money, because I just love money.
people have different morals. I have different morals than both of you guys, even if it's by like a little bit. We obviously we feel different ways about different scenarios. There's like that line on which I guess you can bring money into it is different for everybody.
Oh, 100%.
Even if it's only by like 10 cents for like per thing, that line's different for everybody.
But for any of my morals, I'm just saying right now that I don't think there's any monetary value. Even if it may be the richest person in the world, I don't necessarily think I'd jeopardize them for something like kind of as serious as like screwing with another kid's life. You know what I mean? Like the off chance, the 0.00001% chance that he finds out that I was a fake friend for 2 years and he just goes berserk, just loses it completely. His entire world is shattered. I don't think I would chance it for any amount of money in the world. Just wouldn't be my thing.
I think that everything happens for a reason, and everybody's built by what happens to them. And if that happens to him, then he's going to learn and grow, and someday he'll be fine with it, even if he does find out. But I think we are built by the end of this podcast, because that is a part of us, the ending of a podcast. Go check us out next week, and all of the ones we've already done. And we will see you guys next week. Please tune in, and I don't know, like this video, do whatever it is you do to show support to this video.
Hopefully you made it this far in the video.
If not,
Bingo.
You know what? If no one's listening to this, whatever.
That's a tomorrow problem. Peace out, people.